The man who tried to buy a country. A lanky man in a rumpled linen suit steps off a private jet onto the cracked tarmac of a forgotten airstrip in the Horn of Africa. Dust swirls around his Italian loafers as he surveys the parched horizon, clutching a leather briefcase stuffed with bearer bonds and a dog-eared copy of the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties. His name is Victor Hale, a cryptocurrency billionaire who once turned a meme coin into a 9-figure fortune overnight. Tonight, he believes he can turn a bankrupt micronation into his personal fiefdom. The presidential palace, what remains of it, sits 3 hours away by armored convoy. Bullet-pocked walls, a flagpole flying a sun-bleached ensign, and a single generator coughing to life as Hale's team rolls through the gates. Inside, the president for life, General Issa, lounges on a cracked vinyl sofa, sipping warm cola from a champagne flute. His uniform is 2 sizes too big, metals clinking like loose change. Hale wastes no time. He opens the briefcase, fans out stacks of freshly minted dollars, and slides a contract across the coffee table stained with old blood and newer coffee rings. The deal: $100 million in immediate wire transfer, another $400 million in cryptocurrency, vested over 5 years in exchange for full sovereignty over the coastal enclave of Port St. Elmo. A forgotten sliver of land with a natural harbor deep enough for container ships and shallow enough for plausible deniability. Hale's pitch is rehearsed. Private city-state, zero capital gains tax, blockchain-based citizenship sold by NFT, a libertarian Atlantis rising from the sand. General Issa's eyes narrow at the crypto clause. He prefers cash he can bury in the garden. Negotiations stretch past midnight. Hale's lawyers, 3 pale associates sweating through their Brooks Brothers, trade clauses like ammunition. Issa's teenage son live-streams the meeting on TikTok, panning across the money for clout. By 3 a.m., signatures are scrawled in blue ink that smears under humid thumbs. Hale toasts with contraband Johnny Walker. Issa pockets a solid gold fountain pen. They shake hands. The camera flash from the son's phone captures the moment. 2 men grinning like they've outsmarted history. Dawn breaks red over the Indian Ocean. Hale's advance team arrives by yacht. Engineers, architects, a former Miss Universe turned PR czar. They stake neon flags into the dunes, overlaying augmented reality renders of glass towers and vertical farms. Crypto influencers are airdropped in by helicopter, streaming 24/7. Sovereign sale trends globally. A meme coin called Elmo moons 12,000% in 6 hours. Then the cracks appear. The United Nations Security Council convenes an emergency session. Neighboring countries scramble fighter jets along the border. A grainy drone video surfaces. General Issa loading Hale's cash into unmarked trucks bound for a villa in Dubai. Hale's own investors, hedge funds that pledged the $400 million in crypto, discover the smart contract contains a hidden kill switch controlled by Issa's nephew, a 19-year-old dropout in Montreal. The UN freezes every wallet tied to the deal. Elmo crashes to zero. Hale holes up in the half-finished marina, pacing a concrete pier as mercenaries hired for site security now point rifles at his entourage. Issa's army, really just boys with AKs and Red Bull, block the only road out. Hale tries to bribe his way onto a fishing dhow. The captain demands payment in goats. Night falls. A storm rolls in from the equator, lightning strobing across the harbor where rusted shipping containers spell out, in fading paint, "Welcome to Elmo." At 2:17 a.m., a black helicopter descends without lights. Kenyan Special Forces fast rope onto the pier. Hale is zip-tied, hood thrown over his head, bundled aboard. The last thing he sees is General Issa on the palace balcony, waving goodbye with Hale's own gold pen. Months later, in a Nairobi courtroom, Hale sits in an orange jumpsuit, beard grown wild. The charge sheet is a telephone book: money laundering, bribery, violation of territorial integrity. Issa, granted asylum in Qatar, posts Instagram stories from a gold-plated jet ski. The coastal enclave reverts to its original name. Port St. Elmo never existed on any map, and the dunes swallow the neon flags. Hale's final statement to the judge is barely a whisper. "I just wanted a place where the rules were code, not men." The gavel falls like a period at the end of a bad joke. Outside, the meme coin's Discord turns into a ghost town. Its last message, a single emoji. Have you ever dreamed of starting your own country? Building a new society from scratch, with your own rules, your own government, your own flag? It sounds like something out of a science fiction novel, right? Well, for one man, this wasn't just a dream. It was a multi-million-dollar project. This is the incredible and almost unbelievable story of Michael Oliver, the millionaire who tried to buy a country. Our story begins in the early 1970s. The world was a turbulent place, with the Cold War in full swing and economic uncertainty brewing. Michael Oliver, a Lithuanian-born real estate millionaire who had fled communism, was deeply distrustful of big governments. He believed they were destined to collapse under their own weight, taking personal freedoms and wealth down with them. He had a radical idea. What if you could create a brand new nation, a utopia founded on libertarian principles? No taxes, no welfare, no government intervention, just pure, unadulterated freedom. But where do you build a new country? All the good land is already taken. Oliver's solution was as ambitious as his vision. He decided to build his nation on top of a reef, specifically the Minerva Reefs, two submerged atolls in the Pacific Ocean, hundreds of miles from the nearest inhabited island. His plan was simple, yet audacious. He would dredge sand from the ocean floor and pile it onto the reefs until they rose above the waves, creating new artificial islands. This new land, he reasoned, would belong to no one, making it the perfect blank slate for his libertarian paradise. He founded an organization called the Ocean Life Research Foundation and started raising millions of dollars from like-minded libertarians who shared his dream of escaping government control. They weren't just dreamers, they were doers. In 1971, a ship loaded with barges and equipment set sail from Australia, bound for the Minerva Reefs. The construction began. Slowly but surely, sand was dredged and piled high. A small tower was erected, a flag was raised, and on January 19, 1972, a proclamation was issued. The Republic of Minerva was born. The Declaration of Independence was sent to neighboring countries, announcing the existence of this new micronation. The Republic of Minerva even started minting its own currency, the Minerva dollar, with a goddess of wisdom on the front. Morris Davis was declared its provisional president, and for a fleeting moment, it seemed like Michael Oliver's impossible dream had actually come true. They had created land from the sea and declared it their own sovereign state. They were ready to welcome settlers to their tax-free haven. But there was a problem, a very big problem. While Oliver saw unclaimed ocean, his neighbors saw something very different. The nearby kingdom of Tonga, led by the formidable King Taufa Ahau Tuputh IV, was not amused. Tonga had long considered the Minerva Reefs to be within its traditional fishing waters and part of its territory. This upstart republic, founded by foreign millionaires without permission, was seen as a direct challenge to Tongan sovereignty. The king wasn't about to let it slide. Just 1 month after Minerva declared its independence, the King of Tonga made his move. He chartered a ship, gathered a small contingent of soldiers and even a brass band, and sailed to the Minerva Reefs. They landed on the newly formed island, took down the Minerva flag, and raised the Tongan flag in its place. The king himself stepped ashore and read a proclamation, formally annexing the reefs for the Kingdom of Tonga. The so-called Tongan Expeditionary Force even included a group of prisoners who were tasked with dismantling the structures built by Oliver's team. There was no battle. No shots were fired. The invasion was more of a bureaucratic takeover with a ceremonial flair. The Republic of Minerva's provisional president, Morris Davis, was fired by Michael Oliver for, and I quote, letting the country get taken over. It was a swift, decisive, and somewhat comical end to the world's newest country. The international community sided with Tonga. A regional meeting of the South Pacific Forum officially recognized Tonga's claim, and the dream of Minerva was effectively crushed. But Michael Oliver was not a man who gave up easily. For the next decade, he and his followers continued to operate as a government in exile. They held conferences, plotted their return, and even attempted to hire mercenaries to retake their lost island paradise. In 1982, a group of American libertarians, led by the same Morris Davis, once again occupied the reef and tried to re-establish the Republic. But once again, Tongan forces arrived and escorted them away. The second attempt failed just as quickly as the first. After that, the dream of Minerva slowly faded. The sand islands that Oliver's team had so painstakingly built were reclaimed by the relentless tides of the Pacific Ocean. Today, the Minerva reefs are once again just submerged atolls, visible only at low tide. They remain part of the Kingdom of Tonga, a popular spot for sailors and divers, but showing no signs of the libertarian republic that briefly existed there. So what can we learn from this incredible tale? The story of the Republic of Minerva is a fascinating case study in sovereignty, ambition, and the sheer difficulty of creating a new nation. It shows that you can't just plant a flag and declare a country. Nationhood is about more than just land and laws. It's about recognition, history, and the complex web of international politics. Michael Oliver had the money, the vision, and the will, but he underestimated the power of established nations and the simple principle that you can't build your utopia in someone else's backyard. His grand experiment may have ended up as little more than a historical footnote, but it remains one of the most audacious and strangest attempts to build a nation in modern history. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories from history. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was Michael Oliver a visionary or just a deluded millionaire? Until next time.